Which part of my face?
I mean, like, how does it look? Do you want to move the, more towards to the right? Yeah.
There we go. Zoom in ever so slightly because this thing isn't quite wide enough, but
Right.
it shouldn't be.
But when you put it on your thing, can you crop it more?
You are my freedom. We lift you higher, Your love, never ending. Hey guys, so today I'm going to be continuing this study in Matthew 14. I'm so sorry for not getting a video out sooner. I'm going to do my absolute best to put out 2 videos this week. If you haven't seen the last video yet, please be sure to check it out here. So last time we talked about having the faith to believe that God is in our current situations. Today we'll be moving on to the next part of the scripture. Reading from Matthew 14 verse 27. But Jesus immediately said to them, "Take courage, it is I, don't be afraid." "Lord, if it is you," Peter replied, "tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me!" Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "You of little faith," he said, "why did you doubt?" When we have the faith to believe that God is in our present situation, He will call us to do radical things. Just a couple weeks ago, I went to a youth rally with a friend. When we got there, all the tickets were sold out. There was no way that we could get inside. I remember standing on the outside of the building that day, listening as the band inside began playing a song from Rent Collective. And I remember saying, "God, why am I out here? Why can't I be in there with thousands of young people my age worshiping you?" And I felt a thought, a voice within me that said, "Sing." And I thought, no way, I'll look foolish. There's hundreds of peers about me. What will they think if I start awkwardly singing the same songs going inside the building right now? It would come off as clingy. But I felt that voice again inside of me saying, "Sing, and you will get inside." Now I had the choice to completely disregard that voice and say, "No way, that's just wistful thinking. There is no way I'm getting in there. They have been sold out of tickets more than 2 days before the youth rally was scheduled to begin. Why would I make a fool of myself simply because a thought had come into my head from who knows where that told me to sing?" But something stirred within me. Something that told me there could be more to this. And in that moment, I chose to have the faith to believe that that voice, that prompting, that little nudge in my heart was from God. I started singing softly. At first, I slowly gained more courage. And near the end of the song, a complete stranger walks up to me and says, "Hey, I know you don't have any tickets, but here's one for you and your friend." I was mind blown. Had I disregarded that prompt, that feeling, had I convinced myself that it was my own wistful thinking, I would have never gotten into the Missions Fest youth rally that night. And thankfully my friend got to go in too. And all of that was totally the Lord's doing, but it wouldn't have happened without the faith to believe that God was in that situation. Once we step into experiences like that, it's as if we're walking on the water. And as God calls us out farther and farther, we will continue to experience new and amazing things. But just like in Matthew 14 with Peter, there will be times when we begin to look around and focus on the waves building up on every side. Directly following that experience and getting into the youth rally, my friend and I go in there and we begin looking for seats. And I tell God, "Lord, I would love a seat at the very front row, or at least very close to the front." And so a thought enters my heart, and I decide to go to the very front. As I'm going up there though, I see thousands of teens on every side, and they're all looking at us. Everyone knows there's no more seats left. There's people lining up against the walls, prepared to sit on the floor, because this place is just packed. But I'm walking up there and I'm going, "Lord, I'm trusting you right now." I get to the very front, just below the stage, and I turn around. I begin to feel self-conscious. I'm at the very front of a youth rally with thousands of teens all looking at me, and I don't see a single free spot in sight. You ever had that feeling before where you feel like you're almost suffocating under the eyes of others? It's as if somehow their vision, their gaze makes you feel like you're drowning. That's exactly how I felt. And so I walked back down to the middle, feeling kind of ashamed to tell you the truth. Almost as if I had let the waves of the people judging and watching me cause me to sink down into the stormy seas. Once more though, I had the feeling in my spirit, once we had gone to the far left, to go back to the very front. And I had been shamed once, but I had the faith to believe that that voice, that feeling, that thought in my heart was from God. My friend and I went back to the very front. No seats. That's okay. We threw our bags in the ground and we began to worship God in the front. 5 seconds later, I look to the left and there's 2 empty seats right on the aisle. God reserved 2 aisle seats for me and my friend, 3 rows from the front. I was astounded. I had friends who had gone in 20 minutes before I did and had to sit at least 10 rows behind from where we were. And it was almost as if God reached out his hand and pulled me back out of the water and into the boat. When we're in those situations though where we feel like we're drowning, it's just as important to ask God for help as it is to have the faith that he is there with you. When going through temptation, when the enemy is poking you with a stick, trying to get you to take the bait, ask God, Lord, save me. Ask God for his help, and the Lord promises to deliver us. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, cried out, Lord, save me. Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. I'll be saving the rest for part 3 of this series. You can find parts 1 or 3 by clicking here, or you can click the links in the description below. Bless you guys.